Hello and good evening. This tutorial today will be about making quick and easy 2D logos, badges and extrusions out of pretty much any image on the internet into Fusion or 3D printing software. This guide's mostly for people who want to turn a simple image like a sports logo or some kind of badge into a 2D extrusion, how to make colors, how to apply colors and how to export it into a slicer. Now for this method you're going to need basically a computer, a browser, and a CAD program. I recommend Fusion, and that's the one I'll be using today. So first step, find your image online. The cleaner the lines are, the better the artwork is, the better your results are going to be. You want something that has very nice clean groups of colors and separated edges. Any gradients or grays will kind of make it a lot more difficult. If you're having trouble getting the clean version of the image that you want, I recommend taking it into Photoshop, cleaning up the edges and then working with it afterwards. You could also use Fusion to help you trace the lines. I can even show you how to do that later on. Or more controversially, ask Google Gemini to help clean up the image for you. Now, this is not my endorsement of using AI for any reason creatively. I just think that if you had to use AI, it's probably a bit lower on the bad side of the morality scale for uses of AI. You're more than welcome to use your own methodology. Now, with your cleaned up image, you are going to load up photopea.com. That is photopea.com. Basically a Photoshop clone that'll let you vectorize the image. Import the image, highlight the background, then click Image and Vectorize Bitmap. The image on the right will preview what your vectorized image is going to turn into. Now at the top, go to the colors area and set the colors to the amount of colors you wish to set. For a black and white image, do 2. If you have 5 colors, set 5, etc. And I find that photo mode is generally cleaner than cartoon mode. Hit OK, and now you'll see that your image has been turned into a bunch of vectorized pathways. Play around with the layers and the eye viewer to change things around if you want to get rid of some detail or make it look a bit different, and then export as SVG. Go into Fusion and load up a new hybrid workflow. We're going to be making a basic background shape to apply our logo to now. So if you're not familiar with Fusion, just know that when you select an action, you actually need to click twice. One click to select the action you're going to do, and then one click to apply the action to a certain area. With that in mind, click the sketch button and now click on the surface you wish to apply your sketch to. I'm going to select this flat XY plane. Now that we're in sketch mode, let's make a background for our image. I'm going to make a circle approximately 100 millimeters wide. Try to make it a bit bigger than the logo so you have some background to work with. And obviously don't make it bigger than your build plate. Say for example, if you only have 200 millimeters of printing volume, don't make it any bigger than that. Click on the line tool up here and press X to turn your lines into construction rather than solid lines. We're going to snap a line to the top and bottom of your circle to split it vertically, and do the same left and right to split it horizontally. These construction lines will just help you line up your image later on. Select the circle's interior and extrude downwards by -2 millimeters to make a cylinder 2 millimeters below the XY plane. Now go back in time one step using the rewind button, and we're going to look at our first sketch by clicking on the eye viewer. So now we're going to insert our SVG image onto the sketch. Go up to Insert and select SVG and place it on your sketch plane. Now, depending on the size of your image, you may find that it's much bigger or much smaller than your circle. Just know that you're going to have to play around with this scale area here to line it up properly. See if I set it to about 0.5, that seems about right. Line it up and then click OK. Now, just make sure it's perfect before you press OK, because it is kind of hard to edit it later on. Now, at this point, if you don't actually have a clean image to insert onto your background as an SVG, I can show you here how to trace it yourself. Go to Insert and select Canvas, and a canvas will be placed on a plane that you click on. That will let you see the image you want to put on your background while you trace it with the line tools. Grab a line tool and then trace the paths you wish to trace, and you'll have pretty much a perfect outline. Just note that this does take a bit of time, but technically it's better than importing SVG because the vectorized bitmaps that we made are just kind of approximations of lines. You won't get perfect lines and curves. It's always good to try and do things properly. Now press OK and finish your sketch. Forward the timeline back one spot to get to our circle, and at this point, There's a few directions you can sort of take this depending on how you want to go artistically. You can extrude upwards to make sort of raised bumps on your logo. You can extrude downwards by 2mm if you wish to make holes. Or we can do this third method. I'll show you how to make a multicolored print with a nice border. First, let's start by making a nice offset border. This will give you a nice offset edge instead of just like a circular badge. Select your shape that you wish to transfer into colors and then extrude them down by 1mm. This will create a cut extrude that will give you a 1mm hole in exactly the shape of the image sections. Now start a new sketch on the top of the face. One by one, you're going to grab the outline of the outer features of your shapes by double clicking and then press O for offset. In the distance box, enter in the amount that you'd like to offset your image with. Here I'm just going to do 4mm, something divisible by a 0.4mm nozzle. And after all of your outside features are offsetted, you should see this nice border starting to form. If you still have small areas that aren't bordered or weird geometry you'd like to cut out or thin areas, grab the line curve tool up here, select a node near the area you wish to edit, then select a middle area, then select a second node on the other side to border it off. Now you should have a nice bunched border on the outside that you can cut away. Press E and extrude downwards by another 2mm. Now that you have a nice offset border, it's time to fill in the colored parts. Grab an area that you wish to color and press E to extrude it by 1mm. Now you want to make sure this area here says new body and not join, or else it'll join your background. We don't want it to join, we want it to be a new body. Continue this until all of your logo parts have been filled up. You will now notice on the left side you have a bunch of bodies, including the background that we made at the beginning with body 1. They won't exactly look colored yet, but we'll fix that up in the next step. Press A to open the appearance tab, go down to plastic, find ABS white and drag it into your design box. Now duplicate that as many times for as many colors as you need. For example, black, white, red and blue. Go to the bodies that you wish to color. For example, I'm going to start with the background. Click the color you want, drag it over to the body to color it. Continue this with all of your bodies until it's fully colored. You can hold Control or Shift to select multiple bodies at once. Then when you apply the color to one, it'll apply to all of them. After the coloring is all done, you'll want to go to these bodies on the left and start renaming them to the color that you want. This is a very important step to help us color them later on in the slicer. For example, come over here to body 1 and name it black background. Do this for every single body. Now that you've got all your colors, finish up your model by doing whatever else you need to it. If you want to extrude it downwards to make it a bit taller, you can select the underneath face and extrude it by another 20mm. Just don't extrude the faces upwards because technically you only need about 4 top layers of color to get a colored face. You don't want to be color swapping and shifting every single layer for 20mm, only for that final 1mm. You're not really going to see anything below that point. Now that your piece is complete, export it as a .3mf and go and open it in your slicer. You'll notice that the colors aren't really there yet, it just looks like a sort of black or gray object first. So let's color that now. Go to your filaments and add in the amount of filaments you wish to add, then go to your objects list and see that the bodies have already been labeled with the colors you need. Simply highlight everything that says the color you want, e.g. black, and change the filament to black. Continue this for all of your colors. Export the entire project as a generic .3mf and you're done. Now anytime you load it up in a slicer, it should be colored. You can share it, upload it to printables or MakerWorld, do whatever you want with it. You can turn the whole thing upside down if you wish to print the face on a nice textured plate, for example. And then yeah, you're pretty much done. This method can also be used to make various surfaces, logos, text, pretty much anything you need just as a 2D extrusion. You can sort of make a bit of a brickwork pattern for a dungeon tile or some kind of text like a wooden texture. As long as you get a clean 2D image, you can do pretty much any sort of texture you like. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's no sponsors. Good night.